All right, good morning, Dr. Jaffe. One of our listeners writes in and asks, what do you recommend we measure in our bath and tap water? What would we do with those results? And finally, can you recommend a reasonably priced water test kit, please?
Happy to. The first part and the simplest part is, does your tap or bath water have an excess of chlorine and chlorinated products, some of which are forever molecule hormone disruptors or solvent residues? Two categories of things you want to avoid. At the level of measuring the chlorine in your bath or tap water, most pharmacies and many stores that have self-care sections have a tube that measures chlorine, usually 10 tests per purchase, and you compare the color after dipping the strip in your water with some reference colors on the side of the tube. However, when you want to measure chlorine, you usually want to measure much more than just chlorine. And now we get to the question of, is there an affordable, comprehensive water test for tap or bath water that measures forever hormone disrupting, oxidative burden, anti-nutrients, at least as a category? Hormone disruptors, solvent residues, toxic minerals, maybe a test for radon, which in certain areas of the country can be a source of anti-nutrient radioactive isotopes, especially if you live on the lower levels, especially if you live in a basement. And in my personal case, our radon level was not terribly high, but it was high enough that we increased the ventilation. We brought in lots more fresh air, and then the radon level went down. So there's much we can do, starting with measuring chlorine by a what's called dip strip test or dipstick test, and moving on to more comprehensive tests, such as those that you would find from my tap. Hold on one moment. mytapscore.com. 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 It's one source of consumer accessible, comprehensive tap and bath water testing. And we recommend 4 self-assessments to start with, including how much ascorbate, nature's vitamin C, how much does it take for you to cleanse? Because that's a measure of how much oxidative anti-nutrient burden you're under, which then gets back to how much of that comes from the water or the shower source. And then we do need to know other things today, like have toxic metals like lead, mercury, arsenic, cadmium, and nickel crept into the water or into the water processing? Have solvent residues or hormone disruptors that need to be trapped in carbon block filters or similar, have they found their way into the water supply? My own water supply happens to be deep well water. I'm very fortunate to have that. I recommend spring water in glass bottles. You can get those in 5-gallon units quite affordably, generally delivered to your home by a spring water company. They will tell you that, yes, they have real deep spring water in glass. They also have it in plastic, and I would recommend what they call the glass carboys or the glass 5-gallon units. Or if you want, and we do have this here at our home R&D center, you can get in glass a traditional mineral water, like San Pellegrino or Apollinaris or Gerolsteiner or similar. And so in the sense that our health is largely determined by what we eat and drink, what we think and do. In the Department of Consumption and Drinking and Eating, the source of our water with which we bathe, cook, and drink is very important. And what comes out of many taps is, to me, not drinking water, but gray water. You can wash the dishes with it, but I personally would not drink it. And if you're fortunate to have deep well water and you measure it twice a year, as we do, you can rest assured that the water coming out of your tap is exceptional, and what it wants to be, what you want it to be. So very important question, timely question, and glad to have both a short and a more complete suggestion for folks to follow through.